book / tablet reader with me. You're gonna need a 1/2 yard of fabric. You'll need a lining fabric and an outside fabric. You're also gonna need some batting, whether you use cotton batting or poly batting is fine. I have this kind of thin poly batting, and then I also on both do this iron-on stabilizer. This is the heavyweight kind, extra stiff. So it's about that thick and it makes that sound. I'm just laying everything out on my table. I've got the outer fabric and the inner fabric. I'm laying here editing this and I realized I forgot to say that the pattern for this is on my website for $5. So it's just go get it. I worked hard. And then I do the batting, nice and flat. And then I get this guy. So we're gonna be doing rectangles of 10.5 inches by 28 inches. Got all my layers. I've got my yardstick to tell me that I'm at 28 inches by 10.5. Before you put everything away, you're going to need the handle fabric. So I'm going to cut that out of the piece of the outer that I just cut, and it's going to be 4 inches by 13 inches. Do not stress if the handle isn't the perfect length, because the ends are going to be sticking out inside the layers once we get it all together, so you won't even see them. So it's really okay if it's a little longer or a little shorter, as long as it's roughly 2 inches wider than the body of the sleeve itself. Okay, now we got all of our pieces cut out. You need your Velcro or whatever closure or fastener you like best. I'm gonna use Velcro because it's easy and I have big rolls of it. Cut it to about that size. The next thing I'm gonna do is iron my stabilizer onto my cotton fabrics. Okay, and I know you guys are gonna be curious about this situation. This is my garage. My studio is also my garage, so that's just normal garage things. Nosy bitches, I see you. All right, so here's one of them, and I'm gonna iron it on. Some irons have steam and some don't. Some stabilizer requires steam and some doesn't. This one likes a little bit of steam. And there we go. It's now stable. A word that's never been used to describe me. Ironing the lining now. So stable. I forgot to mention that your handle needs some stabilizer as well. So I've got some scraps here. I'm just gonna do it kind of like that. It doesn't have to reach the edges. It's just to add some extra stabilization for your handle so it's really thick and sturdy and doesn't break while you're using it. And then I have some of this foam left over from another project. It's fusible on one side and squishy, and I'm gonna cut it to around the same length. And I'm gonna iron both of those on there and then show you how to do the handle in a second. I'm a big dumb and I ironed it on upside down and wrong so many ways. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. It'll still be a fully functional handle, and I'll show you how. So we take our piece of our piece of the outer fabric that we cut into a strip. Fold a quarter of it in towards the center. And then the next side gets folded in as well. And then that part gets folded over on top of the other part. So you end up with this like fold sandwich. Did you want me to show you that again? You take your ugly little strip that you ironed some bullshit on and then fold a quarter of it towards the center. Fold the other quarter of it towards the center and then fold it all together like that. If you want to use clips, fold, 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 pinch it in the middle, clip it, and clip it. I'm gonna then take it over to the machine, and then also 2 lines of stitching close to the outside edge to catch all of the layers and give it that handle look. And ta-da, here's what it looks like sewn and pressed. Looks like a handle. All right, I got all my pieces ironed and stacked with their batting. The next thing I'm gonna do is apply my Velcro. Nope, that's not true. The next thing we're gonna do is cut the semicircle at the top. So I'm gonna take all my pieces and stack them on top of each other. It does not matter which order you have them stacked. In the pattern, there's a semicircle that prints out at actual size that you're gonna use to cut the semicircle out right here. It'll look something like this, and you're just gonna lay it down and cut everything all together. If your fabric is directional, this part needs to go at the bottom of the directional fabric. If you have a fabric that it matters which side is the top and which is the bottom, then your semicircle is going to go at the bottom of the pattern. I know it seems upside down, just trust me. So this fabric is not directional. The bees are going every which way, so it doesn't matter which way I do this. Throw away your trimmings. Next is going to be applying the Velcro. It matters where you put the Velcro. Is going to go on the curved part of the lining and the straight part of the outer. You're going to want to place this at 5.5 inches, at 5.25 inches, because that's the middle of the whole thing, and about 3/4 of an inch down from the top. Again, that was the round part of the lining fabric and the straight part of the printed outer fabric. Okay, now on both of these, I'm gonna sew through all of their layers. So each cotton gets, right, the stabilizer that we ironed on earlier, and then also the batting. So I'm gonna sew through all 3 layers on both of these because that's gonna help pin the batting to the body. Okay, next we're gonna sew together the straight edges of everything. So all 6 layers are gonna get sewn together. These two are kissing. These two need to be kissing. What we're gonna do is sew about 1/4 to 1/2 inch from the edge and leave a gap in between these 2 stitchings. Very important, do not skip it. If you accidentally close it up, pick it. You need this gap and you will need it later. And it needs to be strong, so you need to make sure and back stitch where you start and end the stitching of that gap. All right, you see my stitching? I've got the straight edges lined up, and then I've got the stitching with a gap in between. Now's the magic part. I'm going to be taking the part that we just sewed the gap in. I'm gonna call this the mouth. I'm gonna be taking the mouth and shoving it in between these 2 layers from the bottom, like that. And what that does is make it so that there are as few layers in between your edges as possible. So it all lays really flat and nice and neat, and all raw edges are tucked inside all of the layers. I don't have to do any binding. It's all tucked inside nice and neat. And this is the magical part, that the gap we're gonna close up at the end allows for all of this to happen. So what you might wanna do is take that mouth that you just sewed and smoosh it between your fingers nice and flat, like that. See, there's my gap. I've got these folded inside, and I'm gonna go iron it to make sure that it stays real folded and crisp. Ironed my mouth, nice and crisp. Now I'm going to lay it down ugly side on the table, and then take my mouth and pull it up about 1 inch below where the arch starts. So that is roughly 4.5 inches down from the top. This guy goes here, and I line up my, oh, batting, what are you doing? Apparently I cut my batting too short. That's okay. It'll get caught. So we end up with a sandwich that looks like this. So these edges are folded, the mouth is in the middle, and the outer and inner fabrics are kissing. And then, remember the handle? We're gonna stick the handle in here, in between the outer layers that are kissing. And it's gonna go diagonally, sticking out like that. I know it's kind of weird. Make sure you use a clip, otherwise it'll shimmy around. So that guy, and then I'm gonna bend this diagonally under the other side. So you end up with it sticking out on both sides like that. Then I'm gonna line up my arch edges. I've got it pinned or clipped all the way around the perimeter except for these folded bottoms here. I'm not doing anything with these. These are not going to get touched by the sewing machine. We're gonna leave them open because once I sew the outside here. I'm gonna stick my hand in here and stick it out the gap that we left in the mouth and pull the whole thing right side out. Okay, now because this is round, you're gonna wanna snip some little relief snips in the outside, the curved part, because it'll just help it lay flat and be less unruly than if you weren't doing that, because that stabilizer does its job. Alternatively, you can trim really close to the edge of the stitching, but I don't really like to do that because that makes me nervous. And then snip your corners off just real close to the stitching, just to give them less bulk. Now we get to see what we did. So again, I'm gonna stick my hand in here through the gap that we left in that mouth part and pull it all out. All right, I pulled it out. This looks right, doesn't it? No, and that's okay. It's supposed to look like this. We gotta keep pulling it out. If your gap is big enough, you can stick your whole hand in there and sometimes it can help. Mine is not. Why did I make my gap so small? It's not about the size of your gap, it's how you use it. Okay. Okay, we're making progress. So here's the thing made, but we gotta make it look nice. So we're gonna do a finishing stitch. We're going to sew the arch here and this part here. In doing so, we close up that mouth. So the stitching needs to be really close to the edge here. You just sew in a circle like this, not like this. Okay, and then we're gonna iron it and make it look all nice. All right, next is trim or burn all of your little sticky outy threads and then iron. Now we got this lovely little iPad or book sleeve that can fit some pretty big books. Disclosures for legal purposes. This is not intended to protect your iPad or tablet or e-reader or whatever. If it falls, it's not intended to protect it from cracks or being broken like that. It is intended to protect it from scratches. If it's in another bag or you're carrying it around, this will protect your books and your tablets from getting scratched. It will not protect them from getting broken completely, so do not sue me if your shit gets broken.